Okay, up now in Wheeler Bet, and we are talking about teams that potentially could take the plunge to oblivion, otherwise known as the Blue Square Leagues. It's a frightening, horrible thought, but two teams will take the drop from League 2 to the non-league come May. Who will it be? I'm asking Nick Watson, Marco here from Sportingbet here. Who it will be? And I start with you, Nick. Give me the one team that were top of your list in this particular market.
Well, they are the Wigan of League 2. I think Mark's already coined that phrase for League 1, but Barnet sum it up absolutely perfectly. They are perennial strugglers, if ever there were. I think the last 3 seasons they have needed a win on the final day to stay up, and somehow have clawed their way into staying in League 2. I mean, I really don't know how they're not in a blue square coffin right now. But it's an incredible story, really. What they've done this season is really quite dramatic. They've gone for a bit of a change of philosophy. They want to install a kind of free-flowing football and reliance on youth, which is a very romantic idea, and I want to give them credit for that. But at the same time, I think it makes them enormously vulnerable. A club that is teetering on the edge of the non-leagues year after year, can it afford to completely overhaul its style? And maybe in the long term, it's going to benefit this club. I hope it does. It's a good message for football, but ultimately, when you release the likes of Isel McLeod and co, you remember McLeod went for a lot of money to Charlton at one stage, and okay, he's not quite that player that he was built up to be, but at the same time, it's an awful big risk, and 3-1 you can get for them to go down. I think that's a great price, Chris.
Yeah. Mark, we heard Nick patronising Barnet. What have you got up your sleeve for your best bet?
I would patronise Barnet as well. If I get a chance. I agree with Nick. McLeod is a huge blow for them, leaving to move on, and also the manager as well, Mark Robson. I think he lacks a bit of leadership and pedigree to be a manager and manage a club like Barnet. But we've talked about them enough. So I've got Accrington, little Accrington Stanley, and I think it's going to be a bleak year for them. John Coleman worked wonders over there for 10 years, moved on, and you just saw the effect that happened. It's such a hard role to sort of move on, and Paul Cook's taken over. He won just 4 of the last 21 games in League 2. They really were spinning towards oblivion at the end of last season. It's just lucky that Coleman put them so far ahead in the league that they're okay. They were stuffed in so many games as well. If you look through their results, there's 3-1s, there's 4-0s, there's 5-1s. Defensively, they're a complete shambles. Without Coleman's organisation, I think they're really in for a tough season. I think only Wimbledon kept fewer clean sheets last season. Away from home, they struggled. He's done his best to bring in his own players, his own team, similar to what you were mentioning there about Barnet, actually. But with the smallest budget in the league, the smallest crowd, and a very sort of substandard playing staff, I really see them struggling, and it's going to be very tough for them to survive. But Accrington, I think it's time to go back to the conference.
Yeah, but Barnet and Accrington then for Mark. Nick, you've got another one, haven't you?
Yeah, no, Morecambe were the other ones I picked out. Again, there's so many of these clubs that have got budget cuts or just no money to work with, and Morecambe are an example of that. You can find 9-2 in various places for them to go down. Limited transfer activity, dismal form at the back end of the last season. I think it's a similar story to what you're telling about Accrington, really. They won 2 of their last 10 games. And their attendances have been falling regularly. They've got a popular manager in Jim Bentley, but even he seems to be frustrated. Some of the messages coming from him over the course of the summer really suggested that he would take an opportunity almost if it came along. That's probably heresy to say that over there, but yeah, it's a worrying time for the Shrimps.
As well, there we go then. It's Barnet says Nick, Barnet says Mark, Barnet, you're down. Doom and gloom. The Blue Square Premier League.